The Sermon on the Mount begins in the Gospel of Matthew with the Beatitudes. Now, beatitude is kind of a strange word. I don't recall using it in everyday language recently. I'm not sure I ever have. But if we think about it as being attitude, that is an attitude that is characterizes my being, my way that I live life. And this passage of Scripture, to be understood, I think we need to start with sort of the end part, which is Jesus said, you'll be salt and you'll be light. In other words, the way you go about doing life, in particular your relationship with other people, which is really foundational to doing life, you will be salt and you will be light. You will have about you a way of relating that is salt. That is, it makes the relationships taste better. But you also will be light in that the way you go about it will be truthful. It will be honest. It will be what is truly helpful, truly redemptive. But then before the business of salt and light comes the character qualities that are what we're after. And the first one starts with fully satisfied who are poor in spirit, which the Greek words actually mean fully satisfied is the guy who understands he's helpless to do this. He can't do it on his own. If he thinks along the lines of I, he's already in trouble. He needs to be thinking about we. And the we includes God at the center and then himself as the conduit for expressing God's life throughout creation, including, of course, to other people. The second character quality is that the person is a good mourner. They know about good grief. The word that we might use for this is empathy. The person knows how to enter into the pain of someone else, to feel it, not to feel sorry for them, but to actually feel their suffering in somewhat the same way that the person feels it. Obviously, you can't do it exactly the same, maybe not even to the same degree, but we can enter into that and know something of their suffering, and it's called empathy, not sympathy. That's feeling sorry for them. That's not healthy. Empathy is we actually can feel their pain. The next character quality is that of meekness or gentleness. Now, once we've felt their pain, their suffering, we've entered into that because we have learned how to mourn. We've learned how to grieve with people, including ourselves. We now are faced with, what do we do with that? Well, the first admonition that Jesus gives is be gentle. Don't be hasty. Don't be knee-jerk. Don't fly off the handle. Don't do something rash. Be gentle. Go easy. And then you can pursue hunger and thirst after righteousness. You can pursue, okay, what is the truth in this situation that I need to be aware of that I can apply to this situation? Now, this moves into this second character trait that we'll call compassion. Now, compassion and empathy are not the same. Empathy is the capacity to enter into someone else's suffering and feel it. Compassion is the wisdom to know what to do about it. And so we must seek righteousness. We must seek the truth about this situation. And as we do that, we gain wisdom as to how to deal with it. And compassion always is loaded with wisdom. And then we're going to move into being merciful. We are going trying to do the thing that is in the best interests of the other person, even if it's hard, even if we have to, in some way, let them suffer the consequences of whatever they've done. Even if we have to inflict some of the consequences, we can do it in a way that's merciful rather than shaming. And the reason we can do this is because of the next character quality, which is pure in heart. That is, our motives are pure. Our motives are for the greater good. Our motives not to make ourselves feel better, to protect ourselves, to get vengeance. We're not bitter, but rather we have pure motives. And as we do that, we will end up being peacemakers. And peace doesn't necessarily mean that everything's smooth and easy. It means that there's reconciliation, there's a resolve, there's a helping to bring others to this point of truth, of mental health, of spiritual health. And in the very final statement that Jesus makes, he says, fully satisfied are you if you learn to do all of this, even if you get nothing in return except persecution. You get nothing in return except being mistreated. You do it anyway. That process is what makes you and I salt and light. It's what makes us into the kind of person that makes life more savory, more tasteful for other people. And it turns us into the kind of person who can be a model, an example of what doing right is all about. Give it some thought.